Welcome back to the Black Swan Basketball Podcast presented by the Gherkin Companies. Honored to be joined this week by Brayton Martin of Martin RPI. Good to see you, Brayton.
Good to be back. Thanks for having me.
Dave Krauss along with us again, and Tory Strock. And I am Lynn Groll. Excited to head into the tournament trail as the girls get going, as they had their draw last Sunday. The boys will have their draw this Sunday. And we have the expert on Ohio high school hoops with us this week.
Self-proclaimed.
Self-proclaimed, okay.
You consider yourself an expert, Brayton?
Depends who's asking. Depends who's asking.
Well, an expert is somebody who spends a lot of time at something and gets really good at something. I think you probably put enough time in to qualify.
Yeah, too much. Yeah, a lot of time for sure for basketball season. Busy time, definitely.
For sure.
Well, we're going to put you to work here a little bit before we get into your segment of this show, because we're going to hand out our teams of the weeks on the boys and girls side. We're going to take a break here from the Gherkin Companies, come back and hand out our teams of the week.
Is the only path to a fulfilling career. At the Gherkin Companies, we offer rewarding livelihoods with or without a degree. Gherkin provides a generous benefits package, continuous training, top-notch equipment, and a culture that rewards effort. We're looking for rock-solid performers to help build and reinforce the region's infrastructure. Whether you have construction experience or are just starting your career, apply now at gherkincompanies.com/careers.
Thank you again to the Gherkin Companies, title sponsor of our basketball podcast again this season. Again, joined by Brayton Martin of Martin RPIs. We're going to hand out our boys and girls teams of the week presented by the Gherkin Companies. Couple notes from the girls' side. North Baltimore, first NWCC championship in 36 years.
And continue.
Yeah.
What happened? And more, since you brought North Baltimore up, we've talked about the young lady, Lacey Allison, already.
Yes.
Multi-times. She's a sophomore. Mid-season, she garnered her 1,000. Well, early in the season, she garnered her 1,000th point of her career as a young sophomore. She hit for 50, 52 a couple times, whatever. But last weekend, she said, let's just kind of go beyond that. And she went for 62, which ranks in the top 7 of all time in the state of Ohio in terms of points scored. And that's a who's list. If you look at that list, who might have garnered more than 62. So, yeah, she's only a sophomore. I got to believe she might climb up that particular ladder.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Continuing kind of the success from their football season down there in North Baltimore as they won the NWCC championship there as well. Speaking of sophomores that have scored 1,000 points, Kendall Skyver of Ottawa Hills went over 1,000.
And she did it with she's had an unbelievable year. She had 36 one game earlier, then 42, and then last weekend she had 43, which is school record as well. So the same night as she hit for 1,000, she hit for 43. So that's pretty impressive. And then a third girl, and these are all sophomores. This is a girl from Delta, Anna Lohman. She's had a fantastic career, and the other night she went for 43 in a school record. So we've got some really, really good young players to keep an eye on.
I tried to zing him a little bit this week with some of my knowledge, but he already had all that written down, so I didn't get him with anything.
Well, you got to keep in mind he's retired now, Lynn, so he's got a little extra time on his hands. But even if he weren't retired, he's you have gym rats as players. He's just a hoops rat.
Yes, he is.
I tend to I have a Synergy account so I can watch all the college games, and I've got a Huddle account, and I get to watch a lot of basketball on the Huddle. So, and then if I want to watch TV, I'll just watch Arizona and Kansas the other night.
Wow, Fran Fraschilla.
What about that game, huh? Yeah, Fran was.
Sadly, I fell asleep for the last 10 minutes, so I didn't see the ending of that.
You know what's impressive about that game, which shows you the difference between North Carolina and Duke. Obviously we know they're 8 miles apart, but North Carolina has that last game winner last weekend and beats Duke. What they do? Storm the court. Kansas beats number 1 team, Arizona, at Kansas. What do? Just applaud and just act like we're supposed to do this. We're a blue blood. We don't have to storm courts. We're blue buds. We don't do that. So there's a little difference there.
Yes,
no doubt. Kansas, that Darren Peterson.
He didn't even play.
It is crazy how many Ohio people don't know he's from Ohio.
Yeah.
Grew up in Canton. He got first team All-State as a freshman and sophomore, Cuyahoga Valley Christian Academy. Then he went to 2 different prep schools his junior and senior year before Kansas. But can't count how many times I've told people, oh yeah, he's from Canton. They're like, you're kidding me. People just have no idea.
So,
Heck of a player though.
Bill I think I saw 15-0 against top 5 opponents on big Mondays.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I'm not a betting man, but that's a pretty good bet.
Wow. I wish I put a little bit of cash on that one Monday night. It's for sure thing at Allen Fieldhouse. I think it was at Allen Fieldhouse.
It was the fog.
Yeah.
Beware the fog.
Yeah, what a place.
Bucket list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been there, Coach?
I have not. It's still out there to be had. Maybe with our new friend, Fran Fischella, maybe he can hook us up out there sometime.
If Franny's listening.
Well, we'll have to maybe send him that little clip of this.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll take it.
I would make the trek out there.
Okay.
Ben George has been there.
Has he?
Yes, he's a big Jayhawks fan.
Basketball?
Ben George loves his Kansas Jayhawks.
But he's not a Kansas football fan, though, is he?
Oh, nobody is.
I gotta say. How did that come about? I'm going to have to ask Ben here in a couple
Strikes
weeks.
are good. They're good.
Interesting.
It's like Brad Musgrave, the old Napoleon AD. His favorite teams, Lakers, Dodgers, Florida State, North Carolina, all the teams that were like at the pinnacle of their...
How old is Benny? Was he around in '88 with Danny and the Miracles and their miraculous run that season?
That might have been the year he was born.
I'm going to say he was probably just born in '88.
He's in a crib, yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
He loves his Jayhawks, though.
I did not know that.
He does.
Huh. Jumped on that bandwagon.
Yeah.
Yeah. We want to stay right there on the girls' side to start things off?
I'm just going to make this real simple. We've talked about this team. They've had a great season. I think they're 18-3 at the present time, and that's Columbus Grove. Columbus Grove, they're going to win 2 championships. If they finish their season with a win. You win 2 league championships in 1 year, and I think they're undefeated in both leagues. So that's impressive. They've had 3 losses. OG, nobody's beat them. Patrick Henry, who's a solid team, one of our teams a week, and the 3rd loss was to Margaretta. So that's a team that's highly ranked and successful in Division 6. So, it's very possible that all 3 of those teams, PH, Grove, and Margaretta, could very well turn around this year again and be 3/4 of the regional tournament come at Bluffton come regional tournament time. Very possible.
Yeah.
Very possible. I'm going to give it to Grove.
We like the Lady Bulldogs. Simple
Absolutely.
as that. Okay.
Yep. Guy side, there's only one team that we've mentioned every week because they keep rolling. They're 19-0. They've got 2 games on their schedule at Fort Recovery in the MAC, and then a game with their neighboring school, Convoy Crestview, to finish their season. Delphi St. John's.
I think they have to get it, right?
It's time. All Aaron's done is just keep winning, and I saw Brayton had an interesting little blurb on Cam and where he stands all time. Why don't you go into that real quick, because that's impressive what he's doing.
Where's he? He's in the teens now.
He's number 13.
13? Yeah, he's only 150 or so behind LeBron. I don't think he's going to quite get to 3,000, but nevertheless, incredible career.
Yeah,
for him so far.
As I looked at that, he's 13th all time, and he's 164 points away from becoming the number 6 guy. So he can jump 6 or 7 more guys, and just get his average. In terms of how much longer will they play? It's hard to say, but the next line is like 400 points away. So that's a little bigger jump, but he's going to be top 6. That's pretty impressive in your career.
Don't quote me on this. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I'm pretty sure he's going to beat Diebler's 3-point percentage record as well.
Yeah.
This year alone, he's at 58%, and he's shot a ton of them. Last year, I'm pretty sure he was above 50% last year as well. I haven't dug into the freshman and sophomore seasons. It's got to be close to 50. It's unreal the clip he's been able to knock him down.
And I think from a team standpoint, we talk about teams. Well, this team shoots at 70% from the foul line. That's a pretty good high school percentage. If you can be at 70 or plus, if you can be at 46, 47 plus as a high school team in regular field goals. St. John's, I think, is shooting 47 as a team from 3-point land. As a team. That's crazy. No wonder. Last week we had you had your gentleman on the unanimous decision, the gentleman from Versailles.
Chris Barnhart.
Yeah, Chris Barney, he called me after we got done here, and he kind of ripped on me for saying, well, Delphus can play with those teams, like the teams that Max Preps had them rated in terms of the state of Ohio. And I said, well, I'm not saying they're not right, but, but that Mac allegiance we know is strong. So
Yeah, it is.
they were he was talking them up. So
Well, he played before they were in the MAC Versailles, so he can't claim the MAC
well,
himself.
I guarantee
But
you he is.
He is now. Yes, I know he is. We're gonna have to catch a show of unanimous decision if you guys are in.
They sound like
80s.
fun.
You guys like 80s?
Love 80s. That's the best. It's the best.
prime.
Okay. Well, maybe we're trying to get him out here. We talked to Glenn Badenhop here at American Freedom Energy. Maybe get him out here at some point for a little shindig.
Sound good.
Get this place rocking.
Yeah.
Do it on your show when you do
Kickoff
your
show.
Yeah,
Could do
exactly.
it then. Yeah,
Have
could
a
do it
nice
then.
little party of the Red Garage or the Red Barn or whatever it's called. Red Barn. Red Barn.
And they did some grocery shopping before they left too, didn't they?
Yes, they did. They cleared out the freezer out there. I told them to go out there, gave them some recommendations. I walked out there as I was leaving. They both had a pretty hefty bag full of goodies.
Well, for our listeners, it is restocked. Holy
Careful.
smoke.
Careful here.
Well, I told Glenn, it's a slippery slope. We want to promote them, but there's a fine line. And he said, all you got to do is call me. I'll set some aside
Okay.
for you.
Because we're a little selfish.
I know. Yeah.
But I feel like when we broadcast what's out there on our shows,
disappears.
it gets picked apart.
It does.
And
It
we know
does.
Coach Dick Cromwell is going to be making a trip west
Yes, he
from
is.
his stomping grounds in the Toledo area as well.
Yes, he is.
Ugh. He sent us a picture a couple weeks ago. He was out grilling, and when it was minus 10 out.
Yes. Yeah. I did some grocery shopping before we started
What'd you
tonight.
pick up?
I picked up a 2-pack of T-bones from Sonnenberg Farms and cheddar bacon brats from Sattler's, and then a couple of Pepsis to wash them down.
Okay. Always got to have the Pepsis, right?
Yeah, or Mountain Dew, either one, but yep.
Yeah. All right. I like that. So come on out here to American Freedom Energy, Grandma's General Store, and pick up some stuff for the grill. This weekend will be a great time to do it. It's warming up, and good time to fire it back up.
So congrats to our teams of the week, the Grove Lady Bulldogs and Delphus St. John
Yep.
Blue Jays.
Congratulations. Yep. Get into the girls tournament here coming up here soon, and the boys as well. And we have the expert here with us, Brayton Martin of Martin RPI. How many years is this for you now with Martin RPI?
Oh, I want to say I started in 2019, or I think 2018 or so. I think I was doing it on my own just for Northwest Ohio schools. And that was when I realized, just to figure out Northwest Ohio schools, you got to get so many different teams' records. And at that point, I had about 550 out of the 800. And I was like, I might as well just do the whole 800 at this point. So I think it was 2019 was the first year. So it'll be 6 or 7 years, I think.
Brayton, why? What gave you the itch to go down this hole? Was it football rankings, Joe Etal and those guys, Joe
No.
Idle?
So my original thought behind it was I always, basically when it was 4 divisions for basketball, obviously I've always been going to the state tournament since I was a first grader, been there every year since, minus the COVID years. But the biggest reason for it is because the Division 4 districts, specifically down at Elida, would have 12 teams in it where like 10 out of the 12 could win a district. And then you'd have a couple other districts where they have 1 or 2. And it always drove me nuts how it was like that. So I wanted to figure out a way to where you could split teams up through different districts so that the tournament path was a lot more leveled out. So you want to be losing some amazing teams at the district level. Like you could make a laundry list of great teams that bowed out in those tough Elida districts at the D4 level. So that was kind of what made me want to do it, just try to figure out, I think the first year I did it, figured out that Elida district out of 11 or so teams, 8 out of those 11 were above like a .600 winning percentage. And then you go to where I think it was like the BBC school, some of the smaller schools up in the further northwest corner. The TAC was up there as well. They had, I think, 3 out of 12 that were that. So, and that was kind of represented pretty much a long history of doing it that way. So the idea was just to figure out how to get teams in get them spread out more. But,
And you're still married. Brooke hasn't got rid of you yet.
Yeah, good thing. I was talking to somebody the other day. She knew what she was getting into before she married me, which I always love to give her crap because when I first met her, she loved talking about how much she loved watching college basketball. Loved the Duke, North Carolina thing. She hasn't watched a single college basketball game in the last 7 years. She's like, yeah, that was just to reel you in at the beginning, which I'm fine with. But again, I'm going, after we're done here, I'm going to watch a game at Ohio Northern. Last night went to watch 7th grade pilots in the GMC championship. Go all over the place to watch basketball. And she knows the drill at this point. When it's basketball season, I'll be going all over the place every night. So she's on board.
Is it ONU playing?
Yeah, they hosted Baldwin Wallace.
Okay.
Which they have Coach Heil, who was DC's coach the one year that
knocked off Wisconsin Whitewater, defending national champions.
So
yeah.
What is it? Ohio Northern starting lineup, they have Ottoville, OG, Colonel Crawford, Pandora, and I think Toledo Christian is their starting 5. Or Toledo Christian might be coming off the bench, but basically like a Northwest Ohio All-Star team. So
yeah,
kind of excited to watch.
Throwback to the old Marv Hohenberger days at Defiance College.
Oh yeah, yep. Went to Findlay a couple weeks ago to catch a game. Some high-level basketball there for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. But
go ahead, Coach Krauss.
Well, I always get intrigued by the makeup of collegiate rosters and how much Northwest Ohio teams, are instrumental parts of those rosters. And you mentioned Findlay, and obviously I spent some time there, and that was a big piece of our recruiting too. We wanted to make sure if there was a D2 level kind of a player, Findlay wanted them. And they pretty much made some hay with that over the years, and they still have.
About every year. Yep.
Absolutely.
How did you come up with your formula with Martin RPI? Give me the genesis behind it.
So let's see here. RPI has been used at the college level for many years. I don't remember when it was started, but I basically used a version of that and factored in the school size portion, similar to how Joe Idle does the football rankings. So it's not just pure RPI because it has the school size factor in there. But at first, when I first started doing it, I would basically put all the wins and losses in, and I would apply different percentages. Like I would weight on one set, I would weight the winning percentage a little bit higher. The next one, I would do the strength of schedule component a little bit higher, and then adjust the school size more. And then I basically played around with that until I found one that I thought matched the eye test the best, and that's the one that I've been going with for 6 years now or so. I believe it's 35% winning percentage, and then 35, 25, 5 is the rest of it, if that makes sense to you.
Okay.
With the opponent's winning percentage and all that stuff. But
And you're inputting these scores nightly. This is not where the coaches are inputting their scores or calling them in or that sort of thing. You're scouring the web for these every night.
Football season's a breeze because that's just pretty much Friday night. A couple Saturday, a couple Thursday, but basketball season it's pretty busy, especially on the weekends. Almost everybody, if they don't play Friday, they play Saturday, and a lot of them play both. And then most schools play on Tuesdays as well. So Wednesday mornings are usually get up pretty early, try to get done as much as I can before I have to get bogged down with work too much. But yeah, just all I do is enter wins, losses, put the scores in, and everything just runs on its own.
How long does that take you? On a Friday or Saturday night when there are a lot of basketball.
So depending on what I have going on Saturday morning, sometimes I'll wait till Sunday and do Friday and Saturday together. If I don't have anything Saturday morning, I'll knock out Friday nights in about 2.5 to 3 hours, and that's about probably 650 scores or so. And then Saturday, when it's probably around 400 to 500, probably another 2 hours. But yeah, The hard part is beginning of the season, just getting all the schedules in there. That takes up quite a bit of time. For football season, I usually start getting that in around middle of July, so I'm ready by middle of August. Basketball season, if I don't procrastinate too long, then I'll do that probably beginning of November. And then you got to deal with all the out-of-state schools, which is the worst part every year. But
So
other than
Brayton,
that-
I want to know, like, what's in it for you? Why do you keep doing this? What do you have to gain by it?
I'm not sure. I think my wife's asked me that a couple times in the last few weeks.
It's mind-blowing to me. What a labor of love,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, part of it is with going to state every year, I love knowing, about which team, like what they've done, who they've beaten, as opposed to going in blind, not knowing what the heck's going on, which you could accomplish on the internet within a couple hours. But I like keeping up with it, following along on social media, what teams are doing throughout the year. Down at state, you kind of fall in love with guys like Gator Nichols from Maysville. He just became Maysville's all-time leading scorer last night, like 1,700 points. So it's been cool to follow him. I wish I had some form of way to contact him, get him up to Defiance College somehow. But no, it's just I like knowing what's going on all across the state, and that's about it. Just a fan of it.
That's awesome.
Have you ever explored? I know when the collegiate rankings come out, they oftentimes they'll reward you for going on the road, playing a team with a record of, let's say, 75% win percentage, but lose. But you'll get some positive points out of that.
Yep.
And they do the whole way down. I mean, the metric would be something else for playing at home, but losing to a team with a losing record, and that would ding
Yeah.
you. I mean, there's different ways to come up with that. I wonder if you ever played around with that type of a structure.
Yeah, so for the home and away part, there's definitely, I think there's a state that, I forget which one, there's a state that uses an RPI that factors in whether you're home or away. It's not like a huge bump, but a win on the road is worth a little bit more than a win at home. I thought about doing that in years past, but that was when people weren't really using max preps a whole lot, so you never really knew whether it was actually away or it was actually home. Right. So it was too much unknown. I kind of stayed away from it. But yeah, the home field advantage, especially at a lot of the small communities like Delphos St. John's, they have one of the best home court atmosphere advantages in the state. Up there with, get down to the Greater Catholic League with the Moeller, the St. X, the student sections that they have. But yeah, I thought about it at the beginning, but too much unknown. I didn't want it to be too complicated to track down.
So if I was going to take, here's Max Prep's RPI, here's Martin RPI, what's the main differences?
So when they first did it 2 years ago, there's a big difference because they didn't implement school size at all. It was just strictly RPI, and that was it was a mess.
Yeah.
Last year they implemented the school size, and they were very, very similar, especially when you get them down to into a district. They were pretty darn close.
Okay.
Division-wide, there'd be a little bit more similarities, but you only see them in districts. So the division-wide doesn't really matter to teams,
right?
Because there's no state ranking for the tournament, just within your district. So now between last year and this year, the only difference this year, Max Preps has the winning percentage, I think, at 40%. Mine's still at 35%, so I still have a small percentage more for a tougher strength. The schedule is weighted a little bit more in mine. And then the other difference is the out-of-state schools. As far as like all the schools in Ohio, there's not a huge percentage of schools that play out-of-state schools, but the ones that do play a lot of them, and they have, by a lot, 3 or 4, but out of 22, that's a decent amount. But every out-of-state school is counted as a D4 school right off the bat. So I have to go through and figure out their enrollment, assign them a division, similar to how Joe Idle does for the football rankings. And you can really see the differences, again, not as much in a district setting, but a division-wide. You can see the differences of the schools that, teams like, you got Eden and North Central, their max preps is a lot more higher because they'll play, Hamilton, Indiana, Morenci, Waldron, Michigan, smaller schools around there. it's inflated a little bit because those schools are counting as D4 schools, which they are just the same size as them. Same thing the other way around. You get all these D1, D2 schools who go down to Florida, down south for holiday tournaments. They'll play 3 or 4 big D1, D2 schools that all count as D4 schools. So max preps are a lot lower. So that's kind of the biggest differences for sure.
So do they include any part of their metric for strength of schedule at all? They being max preps?
Yeah, so they do
Okay.
I think their formula is 40
Okay.
is your winning percentage, and then I think it's 40 is your opponent's winning percentage, and then 20% is that second, the second opponent's winning percentage. But they also they do the school size part a little bit different, where they have multipliers. So like your winning percentage won't be, if you're 10 and 10, your winning percentage may not be 500, because they kind of factor in the school size at that level, and then it trickles down through the rest of the RPI, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So you're following, right?
For the most part, I'm digesting most of it, but my head spins
Yeah.
at the depth of your knowledge related to this, Brayton.
And has your time inputting the scores decreased or increased, however you want to put it, over the years because of the system you're using? It was probably taking you more time in the
really.
beginning, or is it still
At the
taking?
beginning, it did at the beginning. The first couple years, probably the last 3 or 4 years, it's been pretty level, the same. I have pretty much enter what date I want, and it'll spit out all the games, bring that over to a different page, and then about 10:30, 11 o'clock, I'll go into, talk about Davy 1, the 270 hoops, and I'll just start pulling the scores from anywhere I can. The schools in Southwest Ohio, their conferences all have their own website that has every team's schedule, stats, anything with scores. So I have like links on all their schedules to go to. So I kind of mastered the time part to, I think, as quick as possible until I figure out some kind of AI thing that can just do it all for me. But
Gotcha.
I'm not smart enough to figure that out yet.
Brayton, which conferences, and it may be too many to mention, so you can just defer this if you want, which conferences in your mind have some of the best websites? Does anybody jump right out at you?
Everybody in Southwest Ohio, they all use like the same,
Template.
what's the
yeah.
word for it? Yeah, like a software.
Stat program
Yeah.
or whatever.
All the same, every single
Yeah.
Southwest Ohio conference, big school, small school, you just pull one up, look one up sometime. They all are the exact same. They have the standings, you click on the team, and then you can go to their roster. They have full stats.
Like
from
the
every game.
websites look the same, like the
Yeah.
whole interface or whatever?
Exactly. Yeah, it's awesome. I don't know how. I wish every school conference in the state would use it because they're incredible.
There you go.
But yeah, he's pulling one
Got
up
it?
here.
This
Yeah,
is,
it's like that for football, I know.
Yeah, yep. Football's the same way. I forget the.
Like I have a grandson that plays in the Southwest Buckeye League, which is the Dayton area. And so
Yeah.
the Southwest Buckeye League has what Brayton's talking about. They have an unbelievable
Yeah, right there.
website
That thing's amazing. So you go down here, you can see all the scores from the previous night.
scores.
You click on the team.
You can click on a team, you can click on a player, his stats are right there.
Yep.
I think up our way, coaches are afraid to give their stats out, so they don't want them public.
Yep.
Well, I don't know why not, but just make them out there and so everybody could benefit
Right.
from it.
I know.
Right.
I would love if every conference
That's
got
awesome.
on board
Yeah.
with whoever is in charge of that template, search engine, or whatever the heck it's called. I don't really know, but
Right.
they're incredible.
And you think you'd want to promote your kids and programs
Right.
and
Oh, yeah.
conferences, it just
Yeah.
makes
Right.
sense. But
I know when
Yeah.
one of our area teams plays somebody from down that way in the football playoffs or in the regular season, my goodness, it's so easy.
Yeah.
Well, you think when we do a football game, certain teams, you can go to their website, you can get rosters, you can get stats and all that. And then there's some conferences where
They
zero.
don't even have a
Yeah.
website.
None.
Right.
Yeah.
Zero in 2026. Brayton, one thing I want to ask you, and I know Lynn and Dave will get into like talking about your website and stuff, but I like to know this stuff. So what do you do for our listeners? What do you do for a living? What line of work are you in?
So I actually work over here in Napoleon at Old Castle, right across the bridge from Campbell's. I think my title is master scheduler, so it's kind of like some demand planning. It's a plastics manufacturer,
Yep.
so demand planning, scheduling, making sure we have capacity to run at different plants. I think there's like 3 or 4 plants one in Oklahoma, over in Amish country in northeastern Ohio, Middlefield,
Okay.
Cardinal High School over there. We have a plant out there. I'm lucky enough, a couple years ago I started working from home, so I love that. Being able to work from home is awesome, but yeah, just I think when I was in college, I did 2 years at Northwest and 2 years at Toledo. I think I switched my major 5 times in 4 years, but I still graduated in 4 years because what I ended up settling on was I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do, and I think what I ended up settling on, I was like, pretty much, I don't want to leave like small town. I don't want to live in a city. I love Northwest Ohio where I'm at. So what can I do that would be able to keep me here for a long time? And I was like, business management. And I'm lucky enough, I think when I graduated, I worked in Eaton over in Auburn, Indiana for a little bit. And then I think I just hit 5 years at Old Castle. So
One follow-up question. Okay, so you're in that line of work. You're happy. You can work remote. That's awesome. You're totally happy. But let's just say, in another world, your ideal job, the dream job for you, especially kind of based on what you've done with RPI, would it be maybe working for a major conference in college, or what would be your dream scenario?
So I guess 2 parts to this. First one, I always tell my wife that if I have the job I have now 30 years from now, I'll be completely happy.
Good.
Like, I'm very, very content with what I'm doing. I enjoy it. My original plan out of high school, college, was I wanted to figure out how to work in the front office for an NFL team. I wanted to be, not really general manager. It's a little bit too much responsibility, but maybe like a scout, or 3 or 4 rungs below the top dog, and just kind of do everything for them, But yeah, always kind of been anything really that has to do with athletics, whether that was football, whether that was the college ranks, anything like that. I would have been. That was my original plan, but that obviously you kind of have to live towards a bigger city for that most of the time, more than not. And I'm not a city guy. So.
Do you love the movie Moneyball?
Oh yeah, it's up there. Yep.
I think about, I watched it this past weekend, it was on one of the channels, and I think about you when they're doing the metrics and things like that, just the
Moneyball
fractions.
and draft day,
Yeah.
which a lot of people
Which was
say,
on after Moneyball that day.
Yeah. A lot of people say it's super corny, but I love Kevin Costner, but draft day, just getting into the weeds behind the NFL draft. NFL draft is like Christmas to me every year. I love it. But me and my dad we've been making draft boards since I think 2005 was my first draft, when I think that was the year Alex Smith got drafted 1 overall. But that was the original goal.
So your football team you follow is?
Detroit.
Okay.
Detroit everything.
Let's go, baby.
Yep.
Let's
And then
go.
Ohio State for college, which doesn't make any sense, but
Same,
Detroit,
break.
yep.
Same.
Yep. I blame my grandpa.
It's good.
Thank him, blame him. Depends.
Well.
Depends which team you're talking about.
Let me take a break. We'll be right back after these messages.
In our community, Gherkin is seeking rock-solid performers. We offer generous benefits, continuous training, top-notch equipment, and a culture that rewards effort. Want to be part of something big, steady, and stable with room to grow? Whether you're experienced or just starting your career, we encourage you to apply at gherkincompanies.com/careers.
American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store off Route 24 on State Route 109, just south of Liberty Center, now has 88 unleaded fuel and is your one-stop shop for fuel, food, drinks, and much, much more, including locally raised meats and home-baked goods. American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store is proud to support Black Swamp Football and is the host of the Black Swamp Football podcast, football show, and Saturday mornings Rise and Rewind. Stop in and see Glenn and Greg today and make American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store a part of your everyday routine. Welcome back to the Black Swamp Basketball Podcast presented by the Gherkin Companies. Also, thank you to our fabulous hosts here, Glenn and Greg Badenhop here at American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store. Stop on out here to stock up for the weekend. Get your grill going. They will have all the meat you need as long as there's some left after Coach Strock made his way out there earlier.
If you don't want to take your Valentine out to dinner at a crowded restaurant, Come out here and fire up the grill. It's more romantic
They probably
anyway.
let you fire up a grill right here.
I guarantee they would.
Glenn just gave us the thumbs up.
We did fired up the griddle out back that one morning and did breakfast.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what are we waiting for?
I'm asking the same question.
And then, were you here, Krauss, last year when I brought my Coleman tailgate grill and we did brats out here? Was that during winter or fall?
I don't remember. I think it was football, but I don't remember. I got one of those for Christmas, so I
Yeah.
need to get that out. Maybe I need to do that.
Maybe next week.
And Krauss, you'll buy the meats.
Krauss will buy the meat. We'll cook it.
Yeah.
Or you'll cook it.
Sure, you can help me, though.
All right.
I trust you. I trust you. Brayton, I want to get into, because there was a time when the OHSA was going to use your Martin RPI system for this tournament. And how did that start? The Northwest District Board, correct, kind of started that trend?
I forget. So it was Coach David Sheldon and Colonel Crawford. I had gotten with him when I was first doing the RPI and was kind of talking to him about it. He and I, he really enjoyed it, and at the time I think he was president of the Coaches Association for basketball. And he went to the OHSA and said, "Hey, we should use this for seeding, get rid of the coaches vote." So that kind of led to me meeting with the OHSA, explaining how it all worked. And they said, let's do a pilot year where we're just going to do it for Northwest District, basically see how it goes and kind of do a survey after that.
And they used it to seed the tournament.
Yep. I forget which year it was. They all blend together. 21 or 22, something like that. But basically, after that season, do a survey, see if they liked it, if they want to go back to the coaches' vote. If they do like it, then we'll proceed doing the whole state. So we did that, did the pilot year. Everything went well, I think. I forget. I know we sent out a survey, but the results were pretty overwhelmingly in favor of continuing it.
And that was the Northwest Ohio coaches, or all
Yes,
coaches?
just the Northwest. And,
Okay.
and that year I also did boys and girls, so it was both sides. Sent it out to every boys and girls coach. I don't think ADs were included. I think it was just the coaches only. And they were all on board with continuing it. And then I think met with them down at state tournament about seeing what was next. And then I think a couple weeks after state tournament, Doug, you called me and was like, "Hey, we're going to use Max Preps next year." They called and they said they're going to pay us a bunch of money so that they use their site. And I was like, "Okay." And that was that.
Okay.
That was that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the feedback? And you can jump in here, Coach Krauss, because you're used to the coach vote for all those years.
Well, yeah.
The good and the bad of it. Give it to us.
Well, again, I've only been accustomed to the coach vote. I've never had to do a seating via an RPI system. I always enjoyed the coach vote. I thought, if you did your homework like you should, you could go to a draw and make your votes. They were public. People knew that Patrick Henry voted this team 1, this team 2, or whatever. I think coaches my level or my era, so to speak, would probably concur that there was really no need to change. It worked. Now since they have, I can see the benefit of it. I have no problem with it, and I just think that there's a lot of things that you and I had a little text not too long ago, Lynn, about there's a week or so after the draw that teams still play. The draw's been done, tournament brackets are set, but yet, like this past week, the girls finished their season. Mm-hmm. So there's really 1 week of playing going on. They'll start the tournament next week. The key would be: is it possible to end the season like on a Friday, like this Friday, and then do your seeding Sunday or whenever you would do it, and then play the following week? That's the question I think is out there. That would be the next step to go, to at least look at.
But from the coaches I talk to, and they're not as many as probably you or Brayton talks to, but they want to use that final week of the season. Why can't we?
Yeah. Well, I think it goes back to
especially with less
that whole we've always done it this way
Yes.
mentality.
Yeah.
And not to say it can't be changed. I'd be all for it. Because what you're going to do, and I didn't do the homework on this, and I was going to try to do it, but how many teams, let's say, for instance, on the girls' side, if they would start their tournament next week, they'd finish the season this Friday, do their draw on Sunday, how many teams are actually playing statewide on Tuesday? I don't know.
There's a lot less now that they went to 7 divisions, right?
Correct.
It'll just be Friday.
So I don't know how
sectional
many
semis.
there would be. So I don't think it'd be all that many.
Well, why couldn't we do the draw on Saturday if we're into it on Friday? Because all the data's in there. It's not like you have to.
Yeah.
You have to wait a couple days to put the data. Can we do it on Saturday and then you play Tuesday or Wednesday?
You can stop. You can pull everybody's RPI at any given time. You can do it right now if you want.
Right.
Say
Exactly.
season.
Right.
Yeah.
So why there's the week between? Last year it was 2 weeks between. And there's a lot of teams that have been kind of gaming the system a little bit. It's like we want to protect
What do you mean
our
by
seed.
gaming the system?
So a little bit of both. So there's been a lot of weather rescheduled games this year. I've had a couple coaches email me like, hey, we're going to get our game canceled tomorrow because of the snow. Do you think we should put this before or after the draw because we don't want it to hurt our seeding? And that's
They actually asked you that.
correct. Yeah.
Or it could help their seeding.
Down-
Smart on their part.
Right. Yeah.
I'd do
You
the
can't
same
really
thing.
you can't really blame them for it, but there shouldn't be like
You shouldn't be able to game the
Right,
system
exactly,
to
yeah.
gain an advantage.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, in all fairness, going back to the day when we voted by, there were coaches who would technically not vote somebody number one.
Right.
And keep them out of there to game the system too.
Yep.
So I'm not saying it didn't happen there, but you knew who did that because it was public vote.
Yeah.
You knew who maybe tried to play shenanigans with
Right.
with their
Krauss,
vote.
let me ask you this. Did you have, talking about in-person voting, you guys, the basketball coaches are a pretty tight fraternity, right?
Yeah.
So did you ever go to a vote and say, you know what, I'm going to take care of my buddy here today?
Never.
Didn't you?
I had my brother in a lot of our draws, and I guarantee you I wasn't going to help him out. No, never. You voted your conscience. You voted. Your way you. If you deserved a number one seed, you voted yourself number one. If you didn't say, well, I should be. But no, you voted where you should belong. And I think that's still. Again, back in my day, that's what guys did for the most part. The RPI thing, I think would work. I don't see why they couldn't try. They're trying to experiment things. They tried to experiment with 7 divisions. I think if they said we're going back to 5 next year, everybody would be totally happy. All right, but going to an RPI thing where they're going to vote on a Saturday or Sunday and then play the following Tuesday, Wednesday, let's give it a shot. I'm not against that.
Yeah. I feel like throughout the last couple of years, I've always would compare things to football. Football would they would never say, all right, week 9's done. These are the seeds you're going to be for playoffs. Everybody's always, you can't compare basketball and baseball or basketball and football, but in this case, like I don't understand the reasoning between leaving that week, especially like you said, if you have your draw on Sunday, tournament game with 7 divisions isn't sectional finals is the first tournament game. That's not until Friday.
Right.
So you got five days between there. That's plenty of time to prepare whatever your reasoning is for wanting to have that extra time.
And it's not like you have to study like back in your day because you had to kind of study the other teams to maybe know where to place them. Now there's a number next to their name.
Right.
There's no,
Right.
it's all black and white.
Well, I don't like it when, like you just said, I don't like trying to make football and basketball the same.
Yep.
That's why 7 divisions is asinine in my
Right.
idea. It shouldn't have been 7 divisions, but that's another discussion, another day, and we've been down that road already before. But and I'd said that to Lynn back in the day, this is really very hypothetical, but if you quit on Friday for football, but you made them play on Tuesday, would they be? They wouldn't be happy with that either.
Yeah.
I mean, so my point is simply, you can't compare.
Yeah.
They're different, But I do like the idea of why not try it? Let's end it, RPI it the same weekend, and let's go play. I think there's some merit to it.
There's been a couple coaches that have said to me, use 70% RPI and then 30% coach vote. I don't know how that works, but would that be an option? I don't know.
I don't even see how that could work. I don't get that.
Could that work, Brayton?
I'm getting pretty deep into the weeds there. I don't know.
Yeah, I
kind
thought
of where
that-
we're talking
yeah.
about
There's been a
analytics,
couple-
overdoing it a little bit, but
Yeah, there's been a couple coaches that have
yeah.
asked if that would be a possibility.
The coaches vote, back to what you had asked earlier, I always kind of consider that kind of collateral damage. Like, my goal is never get rid of the coaches vote. It's an asinine or anything. It was always, the number one goal when I started it was always making
Even
level
it.
districts.
Right.
If coaches vote, you can't really ask somebody up in the northwest corner to rank a MAC school. They don't really know anything about them. If you use RPI, then you have a set number basically that says how, more or less, how good a team is, and you can assign teams into districts based off of that.
You know, we talked about Southwest, excuse me, they've got a similar district as the Northwest. You know, there's from the northern part to the southern piece is fairly extensive in terms of, more so in the Northwest than it is Southwest, but nonetheless, what they've done is they've divided into north-souths. You know, so they have a northern part of their district, they have a southern part of the district. That's not going to necessarily clear up what you're talking about.
No, yeah, I think it's better than what it was last year, but
Yeah.
it's kind of meeting in the middle a little
Right,
bit.
right.
Like, for example, you look at Division 6, like last year, the Wapak district, everybody, the MAC schools, you got Spencerville, Marion Local, LCC, St. Henry. You're still going to get, like Spencerville right now is the 4 seed there. They're going to have to pick whether you want Marion Local in the district semis, or do you want LCC or St. Henry in the sectional final. And if you take those 4 schools and put them in 4 different districts, those 4 teams could be playing at regionals.
Right.
And so it's kind of still it's meeting in a little, I think meeting in the middle. I think it's a little bit better than last year. Then it's just strictly, this is where you're playing, this is where you're playing.
So maybe the way around it is to, rather than just have 2 options, have a third option.
Yeah, could do
You know,
that.
tie in a third sectional district type of
Yeah,
setup.
there's a couple that have that option. Well, I guess not really. Well, you have options of, some of them have an option of which region they want to go in. For
Correct.
example, St. John's,
Yep.
they could go
South.
south or north. Some of the Sandusky Bay schools, they can go northeast. So, but
But then that goes back. I read your blog. I like your comments on that about how to fix the tournament. And one is very important, and that's the very first one, and that is the fact that how can you take 6 districts that we have in the state of Ohio, all right, and then get a regional concept? So you have to mesh 6 into 4, and that's hard to do. Why not just start with 4?
yep.
But then now you're going to say 2 of those Northwest or those athletic boards are going to have to dissolve, and they're not going to go for that. They like,
Right.
that's prestigious to be on those things. You know, they've got they carry some weight. So that would be the most obvious answer to regional play. Is just start with a regional concept with 4 district boards rather than 6.
Yep, regional model for sure.
Yep.
You and I have discussed that. You seed it 1 through 40, 50, whatever it is. Is it possible to do that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's how Central District does it. Northeast District does it. I think the East and the Southeast do it, but there's usually only have 1 or 2 districts. So it's a little bit smaller. More
Is the
easier for
travel
them.
is the travel the problem at all in those or not?
Not
Too
as
bad.
much because there's a lot
So,
of schools in a
okay.
smaller area. So
That would make
Northwest and
sense.
Southwest, they're spread out a lot more. So you're going to have.
What would you think of that
further
idea?
times.
I like the concept, and it fits good for Northeast and Southwest because they're more geographically centered. You know, how do you play North Central versus Parkway on a Tuesday somewhere? Well,
Think of the
what you
football,
do is,
yeah.
but what you do is you do what the NCAA does. You go out and choose 5 or 6 or 7 or how many you can sites,
Yep.
and then once the teams are selected, okay, then we're going to assign you to this site. That's the best site for those 2 teams. Rather than do it a predetermined site, have 10 sites. I don't care how many sites you
Yeah,
have,
yeah.
but then you send 4 teams to that site for 2 games on the opening night.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I think
Right.
it'd be
Well,
a lot more work.
Was it Whitmer a year ago? I know Dave Briggs of the Toledo Blade had an excellent column here a couple weeks ago, and I think he wrote about this last year. Was Whitmer traveled like 800 miles for
three
three
games.
three games,
Yeah.
which is probably a little much.
Yeah, they have no sectionals, so they have to play the
Yeah.
district in Toledo or in Cleveland, and then they went to the regional in Akron. So, yeah, traveled the whole time.
What's the feedback you're hearing from coaches? I know what I hear
You're talking
about Martin RPI. What are you hearing? Is it something that they would like to see come back? You can be honest here.
Depends who you ask. Depends where their teams ranked this year, I think.
Okay.
There was a coach from assistant coach on a team that won state last year that wasn't very happy with where they're ranked this week. So it all depends on where they're at. It just, are you helping my team or not? And if you are, I like it. If not, kick rocks.
You ever get offended by any of that stuff, Brayton?
No. At first I did, but it's like I'm not ranking the teams. I'm just putting who wins and who loses. So
play better.
Right,
Tell
exactly.
them,
Yeah.
play better.
Or play tougher teams. I don't know what to tell you. But
Well, I've been a proponent because I love what you do, number one. Number two, you're an Ohio-based, quote, vendor, if you want to use your term vendor. To me, football, comparing sports, even though I said we shouldn't do that, you know, Joe Idle is an Ohio guy, and they adopted him for their football rankings and system. Why don't we have an Ohio guy doing the basketball? That's what I think.
Yeah. And could you do girls too, if it came to that? I know you were doing it at one time. Now
I have to probably convince my wife it'd take twice as much time, but
yeah,
we did it once for the year we did the pilot. So
wow,
I think that was the year that we had Carson too. So that was a lot of fun.
Well, you're up in the middle of the night, so you had time.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
At what point of basketball season are you like, all right, I'm ready for this to be done?
When tournament starts ready for it to be done. This year's, I don't know why this year, I'm just like, I cannot wait for this tournament. So all I got to do is just update brackets. I don't got to do stuff every single day. But I think when I get to the point where it's like beginning of the season, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's probably when I'll stop doing it. I haven't had it yet. Beginning of this, at the start of each season, I've been like, all right, it's basketball season. I'm pumped. It's football season. I'm ready to go. So haven't really thought about stopping yet, but if I did boys and girls basketball, I'd probably be pretty close to
the tipping point, huh?
Yeah.
Tory likes that stuff. He'd be a good staff member for you.
Oh yeah. Well, it wasn't one of my son's about to be 11 here in a couple of weeks. I think when I was doing this a few years ago, he was probably maybe 7 or 8. He'd come into my office and like stand behind me and just watch me enter scores really fast, and he would just start giggling. I was like, I'll be able to use you here pretty soon, enter some scores.
What do you do if you cannot find the score of a game? Has it happened?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, there's every day. If you pull up the site now, it'll say, here's the games I'm missing. If you have them, reach out to me. So I have their regular link to their schedule that I'll try. If I can't find that, I'll check the team they played. I'll check both their social media pages. This year has been a big help. People are putting their results on Huddle a lot quicker. So I'll check their Huddle pages that has their schedule. I've been able to get some of those. I've watched like live streams of games and like against West Virginia schools, and I'll fast forward to where you can kind of make out the scoreboard at the very end and put that in, but then you got to figure out which one is guess, which one's away, because it's a little blurry. I'll dig pretty deep, and then if I can't get it by then I'm just like, it'll show up eventually.
Okay. What is I'm putting you on the spot here. I don't know if you're going to know, but what is the furthest away that an Ohio team has played out of state this year?
California. St. Ignatius. They played J. Sarah Catholic. You ever heard of them?
No.
I haven't prior to this year either. But yeah, every year there's some California teams. Last year there was this whole thing where a school named Wellington, not the Columbus one, but Lorain County, I think it is.
Yep.
The Dukes?
Yeah, the Dukes. Yep, they played some team from out of state, and it had the same name as a team in Washington. Their Max Preps.
They're going to say that got screwed up, right?
Against the Washington's team, and they played against some team in Canada. So that game between some school in Washington and Canada had effect on the seeding for Ohio basketball tournament.
Jeez.
So
that gets pretty deep.
yeah, quite a bit.
Well, I want to get your state championship predictions, or who you think, if they get your questions in before that, if you have any more, but we're going to ask him some state favorites.
He's digging deep now.
I just don't want to miss anybody.
I have no further questions.
Okay. Krauss,
It's a
you
rarity.
good?
It's a rarity.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm going to
Because we got to get him to Ada anyway here in a few minutes, so we're gonna give him his chance to give his state champion. We don't want to take anybody off though.
That's right.
So
Name like 40 schools
there you
per
go.
division.
There you
I'm
go.
just kidding.
There you go.
Where we
Start in
gonna
Division One.
D1, Lakota West right now is the team to beat. They played, I consider them undefeated, but they lost to La Lumiere, Indiana, which is a prep school.
Yep.
And Max preps myself, but they don't really include these because they play against like 19, 20-year-olds sometimes, or it's hard to keep up with them. But other than Lakota West, Princeton down there as well, Lakewood St. Ed's, they just beat Lutheran East last night. Columbus, you have Newark, Hilliard Bradley. I think it's pretty wide open, which D1 seems to be about every year. It's pretty wide open. But yeah, a lot of good teams in Division One.
Okay.
Which
D2.
D1 and D2, their draw is until Fouling Sunday.
Right.
Since they're smaller teams.
Right.
D2, gosh, I'd love to see Lima Senior. Got Winton Woods up there, Brecksville, Westerville North, the defending champs. So Westerville North lost to Lutheran East this year on a game-winning layup. If they didn't lose that, they'd probably have, I think they'd be at 41 straight wins if they didn't lose that.
Wow.
So that's their only loss this year. And I'd be shocked if Westerville North wasn't playing in Dayton for the D2 championship. Who they're playing against, it kind of depends how the bracket looks, which I know they have that out, but without looking at it right now, I'd love to see Lima Senior, Westerville North, D2. That'd be a great game. The Foster brothers there, so yeah.
Okay. D3.
D3, who's in D3? Got both of the bishops, Hartley and Watterson. Both of those guys are good. You got Toledo Central Catholic. Goodness, there's a lot of different teams. There's like Miami Trace and Steubenville are both in the top 5, but I don't know if they could win a state title because you got Ursulines down there in the mid-teens, Hoban, teams that have been there a lot. So I'd love to see Central Catholic there as well. Again, I'm just naming the local schools. I always like seeing the local schools down at state, but both of the Columbus, the Catholic schools, Bishop Hartley and Watterson, have a decent chance as well.
Okay. D4.
D4,
Wyoming
gave me Mayfield, I hope.
and Wyoming.
So, last week, I was saying nobody's beaten Wyoming, and then they lost 2.
Yeah.
They lost. St. X, I think, beat them, or Elder beat them last night by 12. I think Elder's sub 500, but they're Elder.
Yeah.
So Wyoming and Maysville, I think, which Maysville they'll have John Glenn in their region, which that was one of those coaches that was kind of annoyed that Maysville was below John Glenn, even though Maysville beat them. But I think Maysville, Wyoming, so I think they would meet in state semis, which I wish it was state finals, but I can't remember if that state semis at Dayton or Wright State, but I'll be at that game for sure because that would kind of be my de facto state championship game. Other than Maysville and D4, Canfield's always really good. Dayton Northridge, they have one of the best players in the state. I think he's only a junior. I forget his name. Dang it. I'm not great with names. I'm just good with teams. But you got Archbishop Alter. They're always good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be between Maysville and Wyoming.
Okay.
Yeah.
D5.
D5, everybody this year has been saying Lutheran East is the best team in the state, regardless of division. So I think D5, your bet is Lutheran East versus the field. I think Genoa is the second best, but if you put Genoa against Lutheran East, I don't know how close that would be. Margaretta, I don't know if they can hang around with Lutheran East, even though they got some great players. Harvest Prep and Afrocentric, they'll have to meet, and who's the other one? I think Fredericktown. They would all be in the same region, that Region 18 with the 2 Northwest Ohio districts. So whoever comes out of there will have a good chance. Yeah, right now I think if Lutheran East wins it, they'll be the first team ever to win 4 in a row. I think it'd be a safe bet to say that they'd do that, D5.
Lutheran East. Can anybody beat them in the state, Coach Krauss? From have you seen them play?
I have not seen them.
Okay. Okay.
Ironton also, not just a football school.
Okay.
Decent. They could come out of the southeast there and make it up there.
Okay.
They'll have a chance.
Okay.
Who else they got? Columbus Academy also, they were there last year. They'll
Okay.
also be with, I think that's what I meant, not Fredericktown. Columbus Academy will be in that Region 18 with the Northwest Ohio schools. So
Okay.
that'll be a good one too.
They've
Jason
got a really good player.
Yeah, they lost their second fiddle last year. He transferred somewhere else. So now it's kind of more Singleton's a little bit more by himself, but he's so good he can carry a team any given night. So,
Okay.
and then Division 6, that is D6 is probably up there with D1 for I think most wide open. You have Marion Local and Tri-Village at the top. Just in Northwest Ohio, I could probably name. You probably have Marion Local, Spencerville, LCC, all in the same district that I could see winning a state title. You have Colonel Crawford. You have Patrick Henry, who has a healthy Reed Krieger now. Who else am I missing? Might be able to throw Maumee Valley, Country Day, St. Henry in that conversation. Ton of good D6 Northwest Ohio schools. And then again, Tri-Village, Berlin, Highland, Kirtland are all in D6. Who else do they have? We got Monroe Central. They won state last year over Marion Local. They got a lot of guys back. So yeah, D6. There's probably 10 to 15 schools that you could convince me as an argument they could win a state title.
Wow. D7?
D7 is the opposite of D6. Outside of St. John's, who people like to argue how many divisions up they would be able to win a state title. I don't really know, but I think it's St. John's in D7, and then about a mile until the second next best team, which I think McDonald Blue Devils over there in Northeast Ohio are still undefeated, but I don't know about them. I guess I'd be remiss if I didn't say Arlington. I think come tournament draw, I would be shocked if St. John's picks the northwest route just because Arlington's up there. I think St. John's will probably go southwest because with losing to Arlington last year, got the 6'8" kid, Calvin Willow, who's a freak athlete. I think St. John's is going to want to delay that matchup till state semis if they can and not have to play them in regionals. And I think they'll go test their luck out with the Botkins of the world and Cedarville down southwest Ohio, who has a decent shot to make it to state as well. But yeah, I don't see St. John's, anybody coming. Outside of Arlington, they could probably hang around with them. Outside of them, I don't think anybody's coming within 20 of St. John's whole tournament.
Wow.
So,
Wow. How many divisions could they win? We're gonna ask the question. You're gonna have to give us an answer.
no, it's weird because like I could see them winning D4, but not D5 because Lutheran East is there.
Mm-hmm.
And then D6, that's one of them that's so wide open. They beat, but you go through the best teams in D6, Marion Local, they beat them by what, 30?
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of really good D6 teams they have blown the doors off of. So I could see them winning D6, 7, maybe not 5, but probably 4, if that makes sense. So they shoot the ball like no other team I've seen. So
Wow.
the only thing that'll stop them will be a team like Arlington who plays a 2-3 zone, catch them on an off shooting night, and you got a guy that's 6 inches taller than St. John's is tallest that has a incredible game. So that's kind of your only chance against them, it seems like.
Gotcha. One more question before we let you go. If there's one game that you would like to see at the state Final Four, what is it? Or maybe there's a couple. I might have put you on the spot too much here.
I've said his name a couple times now, but Gator Nichols and Maysville. Man, I love watching Maysville play. Them against whoever.
Okay.
Whether it's Wyoming will probably be the best game score-wise, but I think Maysville probably would be an underdog that game, and I want to see them win a state title again. They're just so much fun to watch. They got Jordan Watson and Gator Nichols. They beat Lutheran East a couple weeks ago. I think Jordan Watson had 45 and Gator had 27.
Jeez.
And they just shoot the lights out. And outside of them, oh goodness, love to see St. John's win it. I'm locally biased, but Yeah.
Okay. We'll let you off the hook then.
All right.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Always
Thanks a lot.
enjoy
It's a lot of
visiting with
fun.
you and
Yeah.
keep us
Great
updated.
job.
Thanks, Brayton.
Appreciate you.
We'll be back next Wednesday to roll on in the tournament trail. And do we have guests lined up with something in the works?
We're something in the works yet. We're still trying to finalize the plan, so.
Sounds good. We'll be back next Wednesday. Have a great week.